when I do normally post love is a mental illness, and I normally post it after there's a story of domestic violence or a story of someone killing someone else. People must approach it with care. We approach a lot of things with care. Driving a car, maybe taking medicine if you do, to not overdose. I think a similar thing should be done when you decide to specifically get romantically involved. But for me, this applies across the board, even with families. That's why there's so much family drama and politics, and kids have daddy issues and mommy issues, because this thing we call love has this attachment thing, or what we call care, and how people care or express their love language may be oppressive to you in some ways. Someone thinks playing hard to get is cool. Someone thinks being jealous is so cute. Someone thinks stalking your live shows that, oh my gosh, this guy's so obsessed with me. It's so crazy. Guys do things like wanting to bend over backwards to appeal to a woman's materialistic whims. And by doing that, the guy sort of goes beyond a line that he would normally stop at, because either she wants it or because the guy she was with before, or she's alluded to, well, if you can't provide these things. So he finds himself doing things that are out of his character. And when he does that and she still hurts him in some way, then he lashes out. And it's like, but you started on this journey. And if someone had cautioned you that just be very careful of this thing, this drug, be careful of this psychological stage. Don't be too obsessed with your career. Don't be too obsessed with your hobby. Don't be too obsessed with your kids. Because the day something happens to your kids, your career, your whatever, your mind will break. Next thing, you're shooting people at work. Next thing, you hate an entire industry. Next thing, you're hurting your partner. Because you just weren't considerate about how you're caring for this thing and how you're attaching.
Yes, I like how you mention kids, because a lot of people like to, what's the word? They make it okay to have an obsessive attachment with their children, and it's not okay.
It's very unhealthy.
It's such an unhealthy, it can be such an unhealthy relationship. I always say that people don't wake up monster in-laws. It is the product of an extremely unhealthy attachment style to your child.
Why do you think our generation has commitment issues? We spoke about this yesterday. But I'm going to allow you to bite some of my words and sound smart.
Yes. I'll bite you. The one word I remember was too much freedom, which is true. Like, we've got access to so much now. Even in the dating pool, it's increased through social media. It's no longer no lie rounding.
Sure.
The people you know.
E-rounding now is the internet.
Exactly.
And the whole world.
And the whole world. You have access to so many people, and therefore you have access to so much choice. And people also prioritize their careers now. There's different reasons why relationships, relationships happen, and how people find each other.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were still speaking. I'm sorry. I'm just taking notes of the things you said.
Yeah, we've got a lot of choice, guys. And I think...
Do you think choice is a curse? Do you think people shouldn't have choice? People shouldn't have freedom?
Nah, it's a blessing and a curse. I think something good can have negative results. And the world that we live in now is so big and so different, and there's so much going on that it's natural for it to be like that. Now, do I think it's right or wrong? That's a different question altogether.
Many parents that claim to care about their children limit their freedom of choice in terms of TV consumption, cell phone, social media. Do you think you and I as parents should be doing the same when it comes to our children's dating, to limit their freedom of choice, to almost force them to only jola erandini, or within our religion, or within the race? As a caring, loving parent that has seen the dire consequences of that much freedom.
Look, I'm not for arranged anything, including marriage. I don't think it's the best thing. I understand why people do it. It makes sense. But I still feel like you're taking away people's free will to a certain extent. Sometimes you may think that it's for the person's good, but it could be detrimental to the relationship, especially where children are involved. If you try to be overly controlling with somebody else's choices, the chances of them rejecting and being a rebel are higher than you just giving somebody free will and informing them of the consequences of those decisions. If you decide to do this, this is what may happen. If you decide to do this, this is what may happen. But at the end of the day, we can't say people shouldn't.
Do you think it's not a freedom thing, but an education thing?
In what sense?
You're speaking about not taking away their free will, but informing them.
Yes.
Almost saying maybe freedom is not the problem. Maybe the problem is people are not aware of the consequences of making decisions with this freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think it's more of an education thing. Like people should, as a parent, it's your duty to make your child aware of things that are happening in the world. But you can't control another human being. It's just weird.